Hello, and thank you so much for serving on this Sunday, April 7th, 2024. It is a brand new month, which means that we are starting with our memory verse lesson for the first Sunday of the month. This is a routine that we established about a year ago, where our memory verse of the month, we spend the first Sunday just kind of digging deeper into it. So I'm going to walk you through this week's lesson, kind of show you how we do that. So the first things first is you need to arrive around 9:30 to check in at the check-in room to get your volunteer tag and to do the group huddle and pray together as a team before going to your classroom. Around 9:45, you're going to go to your classroom. You can choose to set out the centers at the tables or just let the kids arrive and set them out themselves. You're going to want to turn on the TV and get it onto our YouTube channel. You're going to click the Lindsay YouTube channel, go into the playlist and click the Oaks, and that's where you're going to find all of our songs. You can just let it play while the kids are doing their centers, but then at 10:10, it'll be time to clean up centers. The kids know how to do this appropriately. There should be nothing left on the floor, nothing left on the tables. They are in charge of cleaning it up, getting it put back on the white bookshelf near the front door. And at that point, then you're going to dismiss them to the carpet. I guess it's not carpet. It is carpet, but it's not like a special rug over in the worship area. So they're going to just walk over to the worship area. I call them over by grade level so that we can allow our younger students and shorter, smaller students be closer to the front so they can have a better view of the TV. We're going to do the first song on the playlist, which is Every Move I Make. So they'll have the lyrics will be up there. They should be participating, singing along or dancing as we do the song. Someone should kind of like guide the kids, in doing this, while the others just kind of monitor to make sure kids are focused and doing their best. When they are done, that's when the 3rd through 5th graders are going to exit. I'm going to turn to show you where the bag is. It's going to always be located on that hook. So if you're teaching 3rd through 5th grade this week, you will have the yellow bag on that hook along with your lesson plans and any materials that you need. There will be weeks where some of the materials will already be upstairs, especially if it's a large material. I'll have already put it up there. But this week it's just photocopies. So it's in the bag. There is a clip that says boys, a clip that says girls. You just grab the one that is for your classroom. So that's when the classes separate. And again, 3rd through 5th graders, make sure you lock yourselves in upstairs for safety measures. So once you are separated, this is when we're going to introduce our new memory verse. It is 1 John chapter 4, verse 10. We did the verse before that back in February, verse 9. Took a break for Easter where we went back to John 3:16. But now we're coming back to this. So this is kind of the second half of what we already did back in February. So we're going to do the majority of the verse this first week. In this is love, not that we have loved God, but that he loved us. And so we're going to stop there for this week. You can go through the entire verse with them, read through it multiple times, but as far as writing it on the paper, they're only going to write that first section on the paper. So if you are downstairs, it is already on the wall. You have a few missing words. The kids will come up and write that. So I recommend if you are downstairs doing this memory verse portion over on this carpet where the memory verse paper is up on the board, there's a bunch of Sharpie markers on that gray cart. And so that's what they can use to write up, call a different kid for each word, or maybe I think there's 7 words that I left blank this time. So maybe have the kids that you call up get to write 2 words so that you don't have as much shuffling around. Once the memory verse portion is done, this is a good time to make a shift before we do our prayer or before we do our prayer time. So if you are downstairs and you have kids that are getting the wiggles, this is a good time to shake the wiggles out and have them find a new seat on the carpet, or you can even bring them back to their tables for the second part, which is the prayer, because they need to be able to see the Lord's Prayer there if they don't know the Lord's Prayer already, and that way if they're in their seats, they already have a good view of it. So we're going back into Taco's prayer. We took a break from that last month when we were testing out our new curriculum, but we're back into it. The acronym is here: thankfulness, adoration, confession, others, and self. Remember, they can give 2 or 3 examples for the whole class in each area with the exception of confession. During that time, they need to have a time to quietly think of something that they want to confess to God. We all have sin that we need to deal with. They don't need to announce it to the class. That is something that is between them and God. If they want to talk to an adult about it later, like a trusted adult, like one of you guys or a parent, that is wonderful, but I don't want them to take that time to announce it to the group. So after they go through those things, then you're going to pray, have a teacher pray over the group prayer together and pray through the Lord's Prayer together. Same goes for the upstairs, same process, just slightly older because they can handle a little bit more than that. Then we are on to the memory verse lesson. So this is very similar to what they did 2 months ago. So if some of them have a memory of what they already did 2 months ago, then that's great. Otherwise, this is a good refresher for them. So they're going to zoom out and look at not just our verse, but the verses around it. So 1 John 4, 7 through 12. And that just kind of gives them more context of where this verse comes from. And so they have some questions to answer about. There is a summary that you can read to them. And after they go through those questions together, then they're going to say the memory verse together again one more time. So on the first Sunday, our craft is very, very simple. If they finish early, this is a great time just to talk as a group and kind of bond and ask those deeper questions. Or they can play games. There are board games available in both classrooms, upstairs as well as downstairs. If you are downstairs, extra board games are up there in that green bucket that has a tag that says March 31st. I will take that tag off. But the teal bucket is where the board games are for downstairs. Upstairs, there on one of those alcoves in the hallway between the two classrooms. There's a stack of board games they can choose from. But the memory verse sheet looks the same each month. It's just a way for them to write out the verse, because writing it is a great way to start memorizing it. And they also are going to take it home, so that hopefully they will practice this with their families. Emphasize that this is to take home to practice with their families. So on one side, it's dotted. They can trace it using a pattern, markers, Sharpies, pencils, whatever they want to use. And on the back side, same thing, but they are bubble letters, so they can color it. Again, using patterns, get as creative as they want. If they want to write it out on their own underneath, they can as well. We're not going to do bracelets this month. Though we're just going to do the sheet this month. And if they finish early, then they can do board games or just visit with one another. 3rd through 5th grade, I'm going to send you a link for the Bible Projects video about 1 John, so that if you want to show that video, if there's extra time, you can do that. You'll have to do it with your phone because we don't have TVs up there right now. But that is that. So something new, if you haven't served recently, at 11:10 is when 3rd through 5th graders will come back downstairs. The only caveat to that is if for some reason the sermon ends earlier than that, you will receive a text saying, hey, it's time now, come downstairs. So, but typically 11:10 gives us enough time to get back down. For dismissal, this is very important reminder. Students are not to be at desks anymore during dismissal. They need to be in the worship area. We will put on a video. We are still kind of in the thick of Abraham in our normal study, not obviously memory verse week, but we'll watch a video about Abraham, listen to some songs, just generally kind of be in the same area so that the teacher that's doing the checkout can have some quiet to be able to see what parents are here, call out the name for the student that needs to come to checkout. So they'll watch that video and listen for their names to be called for checkout. But we don't want kids at desks. We don't want them running around the classroom. They need to be in that worship area, quietly focused. But that is it for today. I thank you guys so much for serving. I'm actually going to be serving with you this week, so I will be back here with you. If you think of any questions you have and you want to ask me before Sunday, that's totally fine. Give me a call, shoot me a text. Otherwise, I will see you on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to serving with you guys. Thank you so much for all that you do for the kids in our church. We're so thankful for you. I'll see you soon.